So for task 3, our boss would like us to create a customer table that includes the same columns as the Northwind customer table, but not any of the rows. He would like this table added to the TestDB database. So that is our task. So what we're going to do, first of all, is kind of take a look. If TestDB does not exist, you are going to want to create the database. In this case, I do see it, so it does exist on my system. Even though it does exist on my system, I think we are going to go ahead and drop it and create a new one just so that we don't have any legacy tables or columns or issues. So I'm going to say drop database. So if you have it on your system, you're going to want to do this too. Drop database TestDB. And let's execute. All right, so now it's gone. And the next statement I do, I'm going to create it. Okay, so now I have a fresh new database. And so our task was to create a customer table that includes the same columns as Northwind's, but not any of the rows. So there is a little trick that you can use to do a select into and tell it that you don't want any of the rows. It's kind of a trick using the where clause. So we're going to say use TestDB, select into, asterisk, because we want all the columns. Select asterisk into, we're going to call it customers from, and we're going to give it the fully qualified name. The reason that we have to give it a fully qualified name is because we're taking information or table information from one database and we're putting it into another. So prior to that, we had been going from one table in a database to another table in the same database. Because these are different databases, we have to give it the fully qualified name, which is northwind.dbo.customers. That is the table we want to copy from. So Northwind is the database. And if we expand out tables, you can see that it says dbo.customer. DBO is database object. Okay, now if we just execute this, we're going to get all the columns and the data. So the little trick we have to do with where is we say where 1 equals 0. That's never going to happen, so it's not going to copy any data. So we're going to go ahead and execute that. Okay, and it did say 0 rows affected, which is actually what we would have expected. And if we expand out TestDB, we should see a customers table, and we should see all of the columns that were in Northwind, but it just doesn't have any data. Now you'll notice again, because we generated this by copying, it did not create a primary key. So we are going to execute a little command here to make customer ID the key. And so we're going to say alter table customers. I think I did mine all lowercase. And I'm going to add a constraint. I'm going to call the constraint PK_ID. And I have to tell it what kind of constraint, and it's a primary key constraint. And the column is customer ID. And I'm going to go ahead and run it. Okay, and if I refresh, you will see the primary key.